let's start real fast with your monkeypox mythology trailer, and then we'll talk about why do you do trailers on YouTube and how are you still there?
Well, it's pretty hard not to know about monkeypox at this point, as the internet is alight with monkeypox mania. Even Joe Biden has chimed in saying that it could be consequential. The jaded public are being warned to brace themselves for cases, self-isolation and victims. But of course, it seems that the ultimate solution is already waiting in the wings. That's right, more vaccines. However, is monkeypox actually a thing you need to worry about, or is this a case of dumb and dumber, hot on the heels of COVID-19? Let's take a dive into the alleged science behind monkeypox and take a look at virology's latest craze.
I love the kids in school at the end.
That was poached from my TV show.
Oh, that's so funny. Well, it reminds me of when our politicians go to classrooms and get photo ops with the kids and everything to make them more endearing. I think one reason why YouTube hasn't gotten rid of you yet is because you're so nice and you smile so much, and they would feel really bad if they kicked off the nicest, smiliest doctor on YouTube. But okay, so basically what you do here is you're like laying out, this is what they're saying. And then it's like, let's talk about how it's total BS, but I'm not going to talk about it here. Is that kind of what you're doing? And had you thought of doing that earlier? Like, when did you decide you were going to start skirting the guidelines that way, you know, or at least gaming the system, I guess, because I've had to do that too.
Yeah, I know. And it's so challenging. You're just constantly dancing this fine line. So I guess for me, when everything, for ages, I could just put whatever I wanted on because I would always follow their community guidelines. But and then suddenly they would change and you wouldn't get any warning. And then I'd get some videos struck down and I'm like, okay, now I have to change it again. And I knew that certain things would get me in trouble. Like I've had one warning. I've never actually had a strike, but I'm like you, I'm totally in the dog box. Now I'm like, I can't hardly have any gains in subscribers. So I must be flagged and my views are like way down. So what I decided was, I think it was earlier this year, I lost 6 videos in one hit. And then what
they took them off?
Yeah, just, you know, you wake up and you go down and you check your video, you know, your channel, and they're gone. And you're like, okay. And there's all these emails saying you've breached their guidelines, and you know.
But they didn't suspend you?
No, I had a sorry, what is it? I had a first strike. That was strike 1. Yeah.
For 6 videos though, they usually give you a strike per video. See, that's what I'm saying. I think they're like, she's so nice. We're going to give her a pass on this one. We'll just it'll be like the half dozen special, you know, you get the YouTube half dozen special, like 6 for 1. So
I don't know anyone in YouTube. It was just, but then, and what actually, because I think I talked to you about it. We talked about it briefly, but because I had one of my videos was taken down for being spam for apparently taking people off, you know, to ODYSEE. And I was like, oh no, does that mean I can't even make trailers? Because you said that you make trailers or something. Someone was talking to me about it, and I thought, okay, well, and then I just started doing it. And I just thought, oh well, I don't put any COVID stuff on YouTube. Like that's my absolute rule, because I think that. But in some ways, I'm prepared for it. If it goes, it goes. I don't care.
Before we get to the rest of this video, don't forget you can support my work by also checking out my sponsors and having a glass of wine or a cup of coffee in honor of free speech. The first is AllisonWinePromo.com, Allison with 1L winepromo.com. You get 50% off of my favorite Argentinian Malbecs and 50% off of shipping. Check them out. Many of these are high altitude wines. They're very robust. They use no flavoring, no filtering, no dyes, and no excess chemicals. But if you need something to wake you up, like a strong cup of coffee, check out TwinEngineCoffee.com/Allison, TwinEngineCoffee.com/Allison. They've got a wide variety of roasts. These are high altitude, shade grown Nicaraguan coffees that are also USDA certified organic. Check out my sponsors and support free speech wherever you are. You don't do any more COVID stuff at all, not even trailers?
On YouTube, like I'll talk about COVID on ODYSEE.
Okay.
Yeah, but no, I can't. Like it's just vaccines, COVID. Like it amazes me. Sometimes I'll see someone will send me a video and they're talking brutally about vaccines, and I'm like, if I made that, I would be off YouTube. There's no way I could talk like that. Like I'm amazed that people can do this, but some people seem to have that knack. But no, I wink and I do suggest I skirt around it. Yeah.
I do think that there's definitely more spotlight around COVID specifically. Do you think that monkeypox is going to go in that direction? Because we're going to talk about that today.
Yeah, definitely. That's the next pandemic. That's what this is. This is the conveyor belt of pandemics that we're getting onto, and that's going to be the new one. Yeah. So, I kind of just feel YouTube. It's that double-edged sword. Like it's helped me. It created my channel, and it got lots of people to watch my stuff. But I don't trust it, and so now I put all my stuff in ODYSEE, and that's where I feel like it's safer. But even then, you can't. What can you do? You just you rely on people following you and finding out where you are. Not always relying on YouTube.
So this is a video that here you and your husband were on a panel about monkeypox, and so I should just say that this is on your ODYSEE channel, which is Dr. Sam Bailey. So really, if people want to get an in-depth understanding of what's going on here, it's like you and I think Dr. Cowan and Dr. Kaufman and a couple other people, right, are all on this panel. I don't think I could ever do justice to what you all did here anyway. So I just tell people, go check this out. Go to Dr. Bailey's ODYSEE channel and watch the whole thing. If you're really interested in this topic, you'll get a lot out of it. I think other than taking the questions from my local subscribers who do ask a little bit about, I think, the science and virology and all that stuff behind it, I'm more interested in how you feel access to differing opinions and thoughts about this are going to be either available or limited based on what we went through with COVID. And I guess, do you think more people will be seeking out information on alternative sources, or do you think, we'll just be back to where we were with COVID? Like, did COVID teach us a lesson about speech and being skeptical, or no? Do you think people have already kind of divided in their camps and we're just going to have a repeat? I'm more, I think, interested in the information war, I guess, around this stuff.
Yeah, totally. It's an interesting question because it's sort of, I guess it depends on, I think that you've got groups, don't you? So you've got, I like to break it up into thirds, where I think a third of people are fully asleep. And I don't mean that in a horrible way. I just mean that they believe everything they're told by authorities, by mainstream media, meaning CNN and all those sorts of groups, and they'll just follow along with that. You've got a third of people that question things and things don't make sense, but they're swayed by these massive institutions, but they can, if something happens to them, I think they'll go another way. So I mean by that, like if people are vaccine injured or have some event that kind of forces them to look at things differently, then they may switch over. And then you've got a third of people that I think are actually quite awake and open to new ideas, curious, and will search for information. And maybe I'm being generous with the numbers there, but that's how I kind of break it up. Mm-hmm. So what's happened with COVID, I mean, I think I was deeply asleep before COVID happened. And I'm really interested to watch this unfold now, knowing what I know over the last 2 years, and see it happening real time, because when COVID was happening, it's all kind of, for me, it was just, you're trying to make sense of everything and you don't have all this information. So yeah, I think that the media bias, that the problem is not even that that the information's out there, it's that they can never find you. That's what I think, big tech are really doing now, is that it's like they can't even know that you exist in the first place. Like, even if they type you in exactly, they won't find you. That's the kind of real, and they're obviously getting refined at this with their AI. But I think humans are resourceful, and if they're interested in something, they'll always find out, they'll always go there. So Yeah, it's I think that's when actually word of mouth is really important, and for people to talk, physically talk with each other and say, have you seen this? You know, check this out. And that's what people can really do, you know, in the audience. Say, always talk to people. Don't write people off. Just have those conversations.
This video has been cut short to fly under the community guideline radar on YouTube. So if you want to see the entire conversation, go to one of my other platforms. The links are in the description. The best place to go is AllisonMorrow.locals.com, where you can support my work and become part of my editorial board. We have editorial board meetings there once a week where you can give me feedback from the week before. You can pitch story ideas for the week ahead. They're very small live chats, and so I definitely will see your comment and get your feedback. You also get exclusive content there, so definitely AllisonMorrow.locals.com. But whatever you do, don't stay here on YouTube. If you want the full truth about what's going on around us, you're going to have to go somewhere else.